Okay, as I said yesterday, what we're going to do is review the last two packets that I sent out from the videos that we did. The first packet that we're going to look at is this one. There are some notes that I've made. There are some pages that I want you to omit. There's a couple of problems that you're going to need to omit because it has some things, some mathematical operations to do that won't be covered on your GED test. And so I'm going to go through these page by page. If you happen to have a question about one of the problems or you need to see an example on that page, what we're going to do is go by page. Okay, everybody? All right, so I'm on this page right here. I don't have any notes on this page. Up at the top, it's called S1. Okay, and you can look through there and see if there's any questions or do you need me to work anything off this page. That's what we're going to do today, is just go through, ask questions. If I see something you need to learn, that's what we're going to do. Good morning, sweetheart. Do you need a calculator? Okay. Okay, let's go to page 2, and it looks like you're doing exactly the same thing on page 2.
Should I repeat this one?
Yes. Page 2 looks like this one.
Okay.
It says S2 at the top, right here. And I numbered my pages, and so this is number 2 in the packet. Okay, any of them on there that you need help with? This is where they go ahead and give you the area of the base.
Can you go over one?
I can. Let's go over number 1 and number 2, because number 1 has a rectangular base, number 2 has a triangular base, okay? But in these problems, these are introductory problems to finding the volume of a pyramid, because they went ahead and gave you the base area already. This is number 1 off that page, and it says that the base area equals 79 yards squared. Okay, and the picture looks sort of like this. And then it has a perpendicular height coming down to the base. And this says this is 4 yards. And we are finding the volume of this rectangular, this is rectangle base, but it comes up to a point, so it's a pyramid, rectangular pyramid. So the formula for this off your formula chart is 1/3 times the area of the base times the height, okay? That's how it's listed on your formula chart, right? It's not the divided by 3, okay. All right, so in this case, they have already given you the area of the base. We didn't have to figure it this time. So for the area of the base, they have given you 79 times 1/3 times, what's the height of this pyramid? It's 4. Now remember that the height has to be from the point perpendicular to the base. It can't be one of these slanted lines. The height has to be perpendicular to the base. So in this case, it's 4. So the volume in this case, if you do this with your calculator, then it's going to be 105.33 yards cubed, because volume is 3-dimensional, so yards cubed. Okay, now the instructions here, I'm not sure what the calculator came out, but you are supposed to round. If you look in the instructions, it says round to the nearest 2 decimal places. The way you count the decimal places are after the decimal, 1, 2. Okay, if the next number was 5 or bigger, this would have changed this to a 4.
It's all threes.
It's all 3s. So the next one on the calculator is a 3. It's not big enough to force this one up. So it just stayed a 3. And this is how you round to the nearest 2 decimal places. Questions on this one?
On if it comes out to be a fraction, in that you just make it into a fraction, or would you have to do 3?
It depends on what the multiple choice answers are. If they're all in fractions, use your fraction. If it's decimals and it's not showing on your calculator, remember the toggle switch on there? Use the toggle switch and it will change it to the decimal for you.
Yeah,
Okay.
the first answer that came out on this thing was the fraction.
Okay. Okay.
And then I toggled it in.
That's one of the main things I love about these calculators, is that toggle switch. I have never had one like that. My graphing calculator, you can go into a button and choose from the list and change it. But this toggle button is genius. I love it. Okay, are you okay for the next one? Okay, we're going to be doing number 2. Number 2, this time it's going to be a triangular pyramid because the base is a triangle. I'm going to try to draw it. Okay, but this is what we're going to be doing right here.
Okay.
You'll know the pyramid volume because it's 1/3 of a regular prism. It's 1/3.
90.
Okay, let's go. And height will be coming from here and we'll go into the base. I hope you have your papers because this doesn't look like the picture. 16 feet. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and shade. This is the base that's shaded on your paper right here. Now, there would have been more numbers on the picture if you had to figure the base area itself. But in this case, they gave you that the base area equals 90 feet squared. So they already told you what the area of the base is. Here is the formula for the volume of a pyramid is the area of the base times the height and then times 1/3 or divide by 3. It's the same thing. So in this case, and my suggestion has always been to you to write the formula first, then plug in the stuff. That way, most of the time you won't miss anything. So we bring down the 1/3, cram together as times, area of the base. We don't have to figure it this time because they gave it to us, 90 times the height of the pyramid. Okay, the height of the pyramid is from the point perpendicular to the base, which is 16 in this case. So it should come out like 480.
Yeah.
480 feet. And again, volume is 3-dimensional, so it's 480 feet cubed. Okay, so you can see this is an introductory page. These first two pages are introductory to you where you don't have to find the area of the base. But as we go through the packet, then they give you some stuff where you have to find the area of the base. But the first two in this packet, they give you the area of the base, right? Nope. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I did two different ones, didn't I? Than what I said I was going to do. Those were on page 2. I didn't do the first page.
On number 1,
On the third page or on the first
the
page?
one that, the page you were doing.
Okay, page 2.
Is the shaded one here, is that the base?
Yes. Yes. For a while, they're going to shade the base for you. Okay. So, yes. Uh-huh.
Why is it 90 feet 2 and the answer in the feet 3?
I love your question because they give you the area.
Oh,
And the area, listen, this is how it works. If you have the area, which is squared, and you add one more dimension, which is the height, that makes it the 3-dimensional, okay? When you add 3 dimensions together.
I was gonna ask the same thing, but I was like, no, just be quiet now.
No,
Don't ask.
I was gonna
always ask because the people watching
I
the
was
video,
looking at it and I'm like, well,
They're
this is 2 and then why the answer
I had to go
3?
back and look at that, I was like, no, just too many numbers already.
because they gave you area and area squared, but when you add the 3rd dimension and you're finding volume, then it moves to cubed because you added another dimension. You've got to ask.
I saw that, I was just like,
Silly, silly, silly.
don't do it.
Okay. You know that I don't hit people or anything, you know. Now, I have been known to throw erasers.
Really?
That's why you don't want to.
First back.
You didn't hear my story about throwing erasers?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, wait, yeah, I heard about that one.
I didn't hit anybody.
You wouldn't be
And they were
here for
junior
that.
high students and they were talking too much.
She looks at the laptop and says it.
Okay, I am on this page. And it's ES1. This is the 3rd page in the packet if you are numbering your pages. Okay, we're going to do number 1, just so we do something on every page, right? And then you guys let me know. All right.
This one doesn't give us the base, right?
That is correct. Did not give you the base, and so you're going to have to find it this time. And I think it was genius. You're awesome. Thank you so much.
Here you go.
When we get our smart board, I'll have these drawn for you already.
Are you getting that soon?
I'll have to ask him. I haven't asked in a while. It takes a while. All right. Now, even though they don't give you the area of the base, the formula is still the same. We want to find the volume of this pyramid. And so the volume of a pyramid is 1/3. Silly. Okay, 1/3 the area of the base times the perpendicular height of the pyramid. Okay, so we know as we copy this, we have 1/3, but when we hit this, we have to go back and find where the base is. Now the base is underneath that point. So here's the point, so this must be the base. Y'all see? So we're gonna find the area of this. It looks like a parallelogram, but if you would look on the bottom of a pyramid, it's a rectangle. So it's 18 inches by 12 inches. That's this base. And so how do you find the area of a rectangle, Rebecca?
18 times 18.
Now, what is it? Don't look. Area of a rectangle. No. Yesterday.
I don't remember.
Okay, Naomi. The area of a
That was a
rectangle.
square. That was-
The big
Oh,
inch.
so
No.
1/2, no,
1.4
Same time
feet.
width?
3.4?
Length times width.
no.
To find the area of a rectangle, and you guys know, I'll let you look at the formula chart. I was just gonna try to put you on the
Don't
spot.
you look at that.
I was like, that's when I can't remember.
Okay, the area of a rectangle you find is length times width, okay? So we have length times width. Somebody do that in their calculator.
72.
Say it again?
Oh yeah, 72.
24.
No, not so. I did that wrong.
216.
Yeah.
216 is the area of the base. Okay, so that is the number, because we just now did the base, that's the number that goes in the area of the base. Capital B stands for the area of the base. So we're going to put 216 here times, now the H is the height of the prism. The height of the prism. And that's the perpendicular one that comes from the point perpendicular to the base. And so that will be 19. So if I do this, I've got 72 times 19.
That's where I got 72 from.
And I don't have a calculator,
Okay, 72.
but I bet I have the answer on this.
1,368.
1,368
368.
inches cubed, because we're finding volume. This one down here was inches squared because it was just area. 18C. Are we good? So you have to make sure that you know what the base shape is to find the area of that base,
So on these, we're gonna have to find out the base first, because it's not giving it to you.
because they didn't give it to you.
Okay, another thing. Can I have a copy of that one? For some reason, I don't think I copied that one.
Yes, is it okay if I give it to you after we're done?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so you can look on with her? Okay. And it's just this page or the packet?
Just,
So far, just this page?
I think so.
All right, any questions on this one?
Yeah, it says to round your answer to.
Ah.
You have to then do
Yes, you do have to.
13.
Did this come out even on your calculator?
Mhm.
72 times 19?
And it's,
So if it says, now on the back, on the answer sheet,
Let's see.
it just has 1368, but Rebecca's right. It says to round to the nearest hundredths or nearest two places, right? So we need to show two places. Okay.
13.68, maybe?
I
No.
I did the decimals from the 8 and the 6. So it brought it to
If it comes out even, then you fill those two decimal places that they said they need.
so it's
1368 came out even in your calculator, but it says round to two decimal places, so I need 2 decimal places. Okay? Now, I don't know how strict they'll be on the test, but most of the stuff on the test is going to be multiple choice. If you have to fill in a blank, put those in there.
yeah, 'cause there's some answers that says round to the nearest. But we, didn't we say last time that we didn't know how to put that in the decimal?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't let us. Like,
It
we
won't
tried
let
to
us
find it
sometimes.
and it won't.
Okay, if it won't, just do the best you can. Then maybe they're not being that strict, okay? All right, but this is proper. If they say to round to the nearest hundredth or nearest 2 decimal places, you need to be able to show it. Are we good? Okay, good questions. I love this. Okay, and the next page, which is our page 4, is exactly the same thing. It just gives you some more practice. Okay, the next one is numbered MS1. If you numbered them, it's page 4. Okay, so it's exactly the same thing. Isabel, Josh, do you have any questions so far on what we've done?
No, ma'am.
We're doing
No,
okay?
I'm good.
All right, be sure and speak up, and if I don't hear you, scream at me, okay?
Okay.
Okay, now, page 5, mark it out. Mark it out. I won't be using page 5 anymore. Page 5, the reason for this is in order to find the area of these polygons right here, you have to use another formula that involves what we call the apothem, and you will not have to do that on the test. Okay? So
Okay.
ignore this page 5. The next packet I send out to the next bunch of students will not include this page 5. Okay? You will not have to know that for the test, as far as I know. But it's really involved, huh, Vanessa? It's a lot higher level, and if there is one, it'll only be one, but I can't imagine it being on there. I'm sure it won't be on there. So the page 5, or the one that says L2S1. L2S1, just mark it out or rip it out of your packet. I don't care what you do, but we're not going to do that one.
Okay.
It involves finding the apothem. Okay. Next one. The next page in here is our page 6 that we numbered over here. The top says ES1, and it's finding the volume of a cone. The volume of a cone.
Okay.
Believe it or not, it's exactly the same formula. However, they put it differently in your formula chart. Volume of cone.
I printed it at home.
Oh,
I guess I skipped some pages. I don't have all of them.
Keep track of the pages you need to do. Okay, so let's do number 1. I guess everybody needs to see it just as a review. Yes? Okay. Okay, so number 1 looks like this, and it's pretty tall. It's here, and here. This is a cone. I think of a snow cone, but it's upside down.
Oh, what is that?
Or a waffle cone, you know, for ice cream. 3 inches, and this is 9 inches. Okay, this is a cone, and it looks the same as a pyramid because it has a base and it comes to a point, okay? So in actuality, you are going to do it exactly the way you do a pyramid, but the formula on your formula chart is going to look like this. Is this true? I want to make sure.
Yeah, that's the one that I looked for first, and then you put that other one, so I got confused. I was like,
I'll explain why these are both the same. Because this one says you have to find the area of the base. The area of the base is a circle, right? How do you find the area of a circle?
Yes. CR.
3.14.
See, they broke it down for you on the cone, but we're actually doing the same thing. We're finding the area of the base, taking it times the height times 1/3. Okay, so this one that's on your formula chart helps you to remember how to find the area of the base. So they're both exactly the same, but anybody that tries to memorize volume formulas, you can memorize that the pyramid and the cone volume are really the same. You find the area of the base times the height divided by 3. Okay, so we'll do this one. We've written the formula. So we're copying now 1/3. And a reminder about pi, I remind you this all the time on the test. If they do not tell you to use 3.14, then use the pi button, okay? But if they do tell you, then you're going to get their answer. If they tell you to use 3.14, do it. Otherwise, use the pi button. Pi button gives you the exact answer. Okay, in this one it says use 3.14. So 1/3 times, now we're going to put 3.14 times, what does R stand for?
Radius.
The radius, and what's the definition of the radius? It's halfway across, right? From the center to the outside. So in this case, they gave you the radius. They gave you the distance from the center to the outside, which is 3. And it says to square the radius. It's the little 2 times the height of the cone, 9. And then all you have to do is work this. Now, if you're going to work it in steps using you can put all of this in your calculator if you're very careful, okay? But if you're going to use PEMDAS, the order of operations, we will have to do the exponent first. 3 squared is 3 times 3, so that's 9. And we write the rest of the problem around it. And then all of this is multiply. So we do this one first. Volume equals 1.04 something. 0.4, 3 times 6,
6,
something.
6, 6.
Okay, 6, 6. So 6, 7.
So it goes all the way, yeah, it goes all the way from 6, and at the end of it, it's 67.
Okay. At the end, we'll round it to 2 decimal places. Times 9 times 9. If we're doing, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, the next one is a multiply left to right. So we do this one.
It's 8478.
Where's the decimal? I'm just
Oh,
going
the
from
decimal,
here
that's
and here. So it's 63. 6 is 60. 6 is 42. 42. 9. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 9.4203.
9.4203.
Okay. Times 9. So the volume of this one, rounded to the nearest hundredth, is 84.78. And it's inches. And since it's volume, it's cubed.
I just said, that was the
That, you were giving me the answer at the end, right?
Yeah.
Okay. We were doing it in steps.
Yeah.
For the people who want to do it PEMDAS, okay? But if you're very careful, you can put, this is all times, don't forget the squared, and then this is times. You can do the whole thing in your calculator if you're careful. Those of you that did it in your calculator, did you get the same answer? Okay, no problem.
I like doing it like this better, because when I show it to my husband husband's like, I don't know what you're doing. Makes me look smart.
Yes. I love it. And you are smart, I guess you know that, right? Getting there. All righty. So that's how you do cones, the volume of a cone, and that will be the same way all the way. Now, on the middle, they don't give you the pictures. Draw the pictures. You don't have to be an artist. In the middle, they don't give you pictures. Draw your pictures. Just draw a cone like we did. It helps a ton. Okay, and page 7, which is MS1, is going to be exactly the same thing, just more practice. We're probably getting to the one I want to, okay. This one, page 8, those of you that numbered it, page 8. And this says, it just says sheet 1.
Okay.
The volume of a cone, sheet 1. The way you're going to know this one is this doesn't give you the height, the perpendicular height.
Mine is marked out, how come?
A long time ago, I said don't do 8 either, but now we are going to do 8.
Okay.
So it's okay. I'm going to teach you something that you're going to need to know anyway.
Are we doing 8 now?
We're doing 8 now, page 8,
Okay.
number 1, okay? Sort of like that. And then it has a perpendicular height. See, you don't have to be an artist. And then it has 23 inches here. Okay,
Is there a formula right there?
say that one more time.
Is that the same formula? Same formula?
Same formula because it says we're finding the volume of the cone, the volume. So yes, we're using the same one, but we're going to hit a snag, okay? So we're filling in the volume formula. We're taking volume equals 1/3, we know that. On this it says to use 3.14, so we're doing times 3.14 times, what's the radius?
The radius is
23, right? The
23.
23, because it's halfway across is the radius. So 23, and we have to square it, times the height. What did I tell you that the height has to be? Perpendicular to the base, right? Oh, sorry, I didn't put this on here.
I was going to say it was a 25.
But this is not perpendicular to the base.
Oh, it's the line that goes
This
down.
one is, and we don't have that.
Yeah.
So we're going to move into something else that I show you. We have to find the height ourselves. Okay? And here's how you're going to do it.
I don't either.
I
Like that.
don't want to. So we have to find out what the height is. Now, if you will look here, use your imagination. It's not too hard for this one. If you look here, here, and here, do you see a triangle?
Yes.
Okay, let's look at this triangle. I'm going to draw it. And notice that it is a right triangle. This is 23 inches. This one is 25 inches. But we don't know this side, right? And we need to know this side because it will be our height, right? Okay. Anytime that you have a right triangle, only in a right triangle can you do this. Right triangle means 90-degree angle. This is the only time you can do what I'm going to show you. Only if you have a right triangle. We are going to use Pythagorean Pythagorean's theorem. Almost, I hear you. Yes, yes.
Einstein stuff.
Okay, so Pythagorean's theorem says that in a right triangle, only a right triangle, guys, only a right triangle. Pythagorean theorem says a squared plus b squared equals c squared. That is in the center of your formula chart, so you do not have to memorize this. Look and find it. I'm going to give you a second on your formula chart. Find it. It's in the middle, and it says Pythagorean theorem. Closer to the bottom, you know.
Oh, I see it right
Do
there.
you see it?
It's A2 plus B2 equals C2.
That's exactly right, right here. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Now I'm going to show you how to use it. Okay. These are the three sides of the triangle. The lengths of the three sides of the triangle, okay? But the one thing that you have to remember is that the C is always the longest side. This is called the hypotenuse. C is always the longest side. It doesn't matter which one of these is A and B, but C has to be the longest side. Now this is how I tell people to remember the longest side if it doesn't look, you know, if you can't tell by looking. Okay, let's say here's a triangle, okay? Right triangle. If you're trying to find out which one is C, this is kind of fun. It's not showing. There we go. Okay, if you're trying to find out which one is C, which one's the hypotenuse, then think of this little guy right here. He is fishing. See, he's fishing. And you know when you're fishing, you have to wait for a while. And so he's just looking out at the horizon and he's just enjoying the scenery. He's looking straight at the hypotenuse. This will always be the hypotenuse. He's fishing here, looking at the hypotenuse. So this is how you spell hypotenuse. Hypotenuse means the longest side of a right triangle. Hypotenuse is the longest side, and it will be C in this formula. Everybody good? Okay, turn this back.
I'm just really gonna say I'm smart.
Yes, he is.
You're
You're going to use Pythagorean, and you're going to use hypotenuse, and I'm going to know how to do it, right? Okay, so here is our right triangle. The hypotenuse is across from the right angle because this guy is fishing upside down, and he's looking here. So this has to be C. This has to be C. The other two don't matter. This is A and B. Doesn't matter. So I'm going to erase a lot of this stuff if it's okay, because I want to show you how to use this, and I'm running out of room. We'll get back together in just a minute.
And this is only on the right triangles, correct?
Only a right triangle. It won't work on anything else. So Pythagorean theorem says A squared plus B squared equals C squared, okay? So now this is the formula. Write the formula first and then plug things in. So I want to know what side A is. It's X. We don't know it. So I have X and I have to square it, plus B is our 23. So I have 23 squared equals C, 25 squared. And now it's time to solve for X. This is why I taught you this early on, how to solve equations, because you do it all the time. So now, let's square everything before we start to work, okay? So I have X squared, because I don't know what that is. What's 23 squared, you guys? 529. Something, 23 squared.
Okay.
625.
529.
This is 625.
529.
I want, is it 529?
Yeah, 529.
Okay. I just took 23 squared in my calculator, got 529. 25 squared in your calculator, 625. Okay? We're just
And
squaring.
Are we putting square or just a number?
We squared this,
Okay.
so now it doesn't have a squared on it anymore. Okay? Okay, and now we're solving for X, so we know we have to get rid of the straggler here. 29 minus 5, 29. This cancels out. I have an X squared left equals 4, let's see, 96. Is it 96?
Let's see.
625 minus 529.
96.
Okay. And so we still don't know what x is because we have a squared. Okay? So the opposite up here, the opposite of plus was minus, but we need to get rid of the squared now. So the opposite of squared is square root. Square root. Square root. Okay? So now the square root and squared cancel each other out. I have an x. And what's the square root of 96? Four?
9.797.
9,
I thought it was wrong.
9.79. So I just rounded it to 9.8.
Where do you find the square root of it?
Okay, it is the green and then push the squared button. It's right above the x squared. Where you squared stuff, the green is above it.
Oh, right there. Oh,
So you have to push the green and, see the square? Right here, look above it. There's a
oh, there
square.
it is.
So green and that button. So do that and that button, put 96. And okay, toggle. That's what I want, 9.8. If you got just in 4 square roots of 6 or something like that, toggle it so you can get the decimal. And it's approximately 9.8. You guys see?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, we did a lot of extra stuff here. We had to use Pythagorean theorem for this right triangle in order to find the height, right? So instead of h, now it's 9.8 because we used Pythagorean theorem in this right triangle. Y'all see? So now that we know all our pieces, we go back to find the volume now. You had to take a side trip to find the information that we need in order to find the volume. So volume of a cone is 1/3 pi r squared h. So we're going to fill it in again because I erased it. So volume equals 1/3 times 3.14 times r, we said was 23, and it says to square it, times, now we know what our h is. Don't get trapped and put 25 for the height. This is called the slant height. It's not perpendicular to the base. But now we have found out what the height is. It's 9.8.
So what's the shortcut?
Shortcut? You just be dreaming. Okay, do this in your calculator and you should come pretty close to, okay, here's, you said 54.26.
0.129.
So 1/3, okay? Because it says to 2 decimal places, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, now I want you all to look at this. And this is inches cubed. Now the answer on the back, the answer says 54.25. That's what it says, inches cubed. I need to explain to you that whenever you work this on your test and the multiple choice doesn't have this exact answer that you got, that does not mean that you did it incorrectly. Look how close these are to each other. They're very, very close, and the reason that they aren't the same is because we rounded this number. So if they're not exactly the same, go back up in your problem and say, oh yeah, I rounded this. Because I rounded it, they may have used more decimal places before they rounded, which brings it closer to their answer, but the multiple choice won't make you choose between these two. Your answer will be very, very close to theirs. You will be able to find it in the multiple choice. So don't freak out if it's not exactly. This is very, very close. And it's only because we rounded to 9.8. If you do this again and use a lot more decimal places, you'll come closer. Okay?
Yeah.
All right. I suggest we do another one,
Yes.
but let's do one of them that is a word problem down there that doesn't have a picture.
Uh-oh.
Okay? So that you will know that you can do this. I can do this. All right. And remember that if we don't know the height, we have to stop and take a side trip to Pythagorean land. Okay? To find it. So let's look at number 4. Number 4 on that same page. Number 4 is a problem that just describes the cone, and we have to draw it ourselves.
Okay.
So we're going to draw and label a cone. You could put it whichever way you want to. If you like it where it holds ice cream, you can do it that way, or you can do it upside down. Doesn't matter. And it doesn't matter if you're an artist.
So all of this is cone?
Yes, up at the top it says cone, volume of a cone. But if you weren't sure on this number 4,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. How do we know it's a cone?
look at B, look at the instructions for all of it.
Oh,
Find the volume of each cone. So it tells you to draw a cone, all right? Now, in the information on number 4, it says the slant height. So the slant height is this. It's not a perpendicular height. And it says the radius is 4 inches. Now that's all they give us. And so you immediately see that we don't have the height. We need the height because we're not going to use 23 in our formula. Okay? So we come down, see your right triangle right here? There's your right triangle. So let's draw a right triangle and put and label what we do know. Okay? And we have to know X because that is the height. Okay? So we're going to use Pythagorean theorem, but before we do, we've got to make sure and find the C. Which one is C? The 23. This one. Because the guy's sitting here looking at the hypotenuse. So this is going to be our C. It doesn't matter which one is A and B. Okay? So our formula is A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Remember, this Pythagorean theorem only works with a right triangle. Okay? Here's a right triangle. We're going to plug in now. Our A is 4. We have 4 squared plus X squared equals
23 squared.
23 squared. Moving on down, let's do the squaring first. 16 plus X squared equals, we just had that one, 529.
Yeah.
And we're back to solving equations. We want to solve for the X. So we subtract 16, and we have X squared equals 513. That is exactly right. 513, we're solving for X. That means we have to get rid of our squared. We have to do the opposite, which is square root. Square root and squared cancel each other out. Now I have X equals,
22.60.
say it again,
22.64.
Okay, 22.64, is that rounded? There's a 9, so we need to go to 5, right?
So 65.
If we're going to go to 2 decimal places, which is fine. Okay, so X, this is our side trip to the Pythagorean land, and we found out that our X is 22.65 on this right triangle. Well, this right triangle is this, so that means our height now is 22.65. That's how we found out our height. And now we can go back to find our volume, now that we know the height. Everybody okay with this? I'm going to erase it.
Maybe I should too.
Okay. All right. Okay. So we found the height by using Pythagorean theorem. And so now that we know that, we can fill out everything in our volume formula. Don't be sure on the test not to stop at the end of Pythagorean theorem. You still got some work to do. You still have to find the volume. So be real careful not to go, ha ha, the answer is 22 point whatever. They might have that in your multiple choice.
Throw you off.
Yes. So be careful. That's just this. So now we have the volume equals 1/3. I'm copying the formula first, then I'm writing the fill-in. Times the radius. Did they give us the radius or the diameter? You always got to check that too. They gave us the radius, so 4 is fine. Squared times, and now we know the height. 22.65. Again, you can do this all on your calculator. I'm going to do the PEMDAS real quick. So we do exponents first. Here's 16, write the problem around it. It's all multiplied now, so we multiply left to right. I said 104,666, right? Okay. Times 16 times 22.65. Still all multiply, so we multiply left to right. Somebody tell me this one, I can't do it in my head. It's about 17 something. Say it again.
1674.
16.74. Okay, is the answer to this times 22.65. And our last multiplication, if you're using PEMDAS one step at a time, you'll have to tell me that one too.
379.324.
379.342, you said?
32408. So I don't know what that.
32408. So, and then we go back up, round your answer to 2 decimal places. And so 2 places after this is all they want, but you have to look at the next number. If it's 5 or bigger, it would make this a 3. It's less than 5, so this is the answer right here. And I noticed on the back, it just has 0.3. They obviously did not read the directions, did they? Okay. So, and of course, this is inches cubed because it's volume. Volume is cubed, 3-dimensional. Okay. So just reworking here. This didn't even have a picture. So we had to draw a picture. We looked at the instructions. It says cone, so you draw a cone. Then you look at all the labels and put everything, all the information that they put on there. It says to find the volume, so you put the volume formula up here, fill out everything you can, and you found out you don't know the height. So we got to take a side trip. And we've got to find the height by using a right triangle, put the height back in, ta-da. Yes?
This might be a dumb question.
There's no dumb questions.
What kind of math is it? Is it still geometry?
This is geometry. Because we work with spatial things in space, geometric figures, solids, those type of things are all geometry.
Kind of figured this one would be something else. The a squared plus b squared equals c squared.
Geometry, Pythagorean theorem. Okay, are you good with this page? All right. It's starting to get to be long today, so we're not going to go through both packets, but I'm going to finish this packet. Okay, then we'll do the surface area packet tomorrow. Sound good? Okay, so the next page here is the spheres. We're supposed to find the volume of the spheres. It says ES1 at the top. It says volume spheres, and it's our page 9.
Okay.
ES1. You guys still okay? I haven't heard much out of you.
Yes.
Any questions at all yet?
No.
Not yet.
Is your head spinning?
No, not quite.
Okay. Okay, we're going to find the volume of a sphere. All right. So if you know you're going to be finding the volume of a sphere, just go ahead and take a head start and go find the formula for the volume of a sphere and get that written down so that we can copy numbers into it. And it should be volume equals 4/3 pi r cubed. 4/3 pi r cubed. And we'll do number 1. Okay. And we're supposed to find the volume for this. There's no new stuff on this one. There's no new stuff at all. So we're going to find the volume of the sphere. Volume equals 4/3 times, the instructions say 3.14 again? Yes. We're going to use 3.14 times, what's the radius?
12.
4 inches.
I was going to say, you're looking on another picture.
I was looking at the second.
Mhm.
4
Okay,
inches.
and when you say, what's the radius, and you look at the picture, in your mind go, is it the radius or is it diameter? Let's make sure. Okay, just always make sure it's a radius because they'll whip a diameter in there, okay? Okay, but the radius is from the point to the outside, and this is the radius, and so we're going to put radius cubed. We didn't have to take a side trip at all, did we? We know everything. So you can put this in your calculator. Now, some of you may have a question on how to put r cubed in the calculator. Again, you can put this whole thing in your calculator, but again, r. What? Silly me. Okay, there we go. 4 cubed. Okay, so we do exponents first. And again, you can put the whole thing in your calculator. The way that you put this in the calculator, we have a squared button, but we don't have a cubed button. So you're going to put it in like this. There is a key called the caret top, and this says to the power of. 4 to the power of. You can use it for any other exponent. This is to the power of. And we call it a caret top. And you should get 64.
I got 267.
You did the whole thing?
Yeah.
Okay, so volume equals what?
267.94, and then it goes on to 6667.
So what do they want? They want it rounded to what? Does it say?
Oh, one more 6.
It doesn't matter, because
Okay.
it'll go on forever.
Okay.
So it says 2 decimal places.
Yeah.
So here,
Oh. Yeah.
2 decimal places, but we always look at the straggler.
Yeah.
And it's above 6, so it's going to change this to the answer on your test. You're going to put 267.95 inches because we found volume. Anybody
Okay,
having
so,
trouble?
Yeah, I got that. Same thing. I got the same answer.
Good, good. Are you,
How do you put in the 4 with the 3?
But she said
that's the carrot top.
Oh, that's
4 to the power of.
and then put everything open. Get to the 4 and 3. The
Just
6.
The 4 over 3 or the 4 to the power of 3?
Yeah.
Okay, because there's both of them there.
All right, well, I can put it all in, get 4.
I did the steps.
Okay, and you came out with the same thing. Good girl, good girl. Any questions on this one? So I'm going to do this. It isn't on your page, but this will take care of the next thing that you will have to deal with. What if it's telling you to find the volume of this? It's telling you to find the volume of this, which is called a hemisphere. It's just half of it. One of my students on the phone called it a bowl. Okay, now we're going to find the volume of this bowl. Okay, but it's a hemisphere, and hemisphere means half of a sphere. Okay, so the way you do it, the reason I'm leaving this up here is because half the volume, if you cut it in half, it's half of the volume. And so we're going to take our volume and divide it by 2 to get the volume of the hemisphere. Ta-da!
Comes out to 133.97.
And is that rounded? Does this go to 8 or does it stay 7?
975.
Okay, so it's going to be 8, right? Okay, and then again, it's inches cubed because it's half of the volume. It's half of the volume, so a bowl and a basketball, they're half of each other, okay? Are we good without having to do another one? The biggie today was taking that side trip to find Pythagorean theorem to find our height when it's missing. Don't be fooled and use the slant height, okay? Let me see if we're done. The last one, yes, we just have another page of spheres. You guys always read the instructions. They tell you stuff in the instructions. They tell you how to round. They tell you what to use for pi. And they tell you what shape you need to draw if they haven't drawn it. The instructions are important. And then the last page here is finding either the sphere or the hemisphere. Okay? So for today's instruction, I think we're good. Now that page 5 that I told you to mark out last week, that's the one you erased to mark out. You can do it now because you know the Pythagorean theorem. But, no, 8. 8 is the one you are going to do now. 5, rip it out. You don't need it. Are we good? How about you, Isabel, Josh?
I'm all right.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yes,
Okay. Didn't hear much from you, but I hope that was good news.
there was.
Yeah.
Okay, since this first packet took this long, we're not going to move into the second packet, which is the surface area, until tomorrow. But we will be reviewing that. There will be no additional worksheets coming today, okay? Just an
Okay.
invitation to tomorrow's Zoom.
Okay.
Are we good?
Yeah.
Okay, you guys know I love you, right?
Yes,
I
ma'am.
love you too,
Okay,
teacher.
we will see you tomorrow.
All righty.
Okay, thank you.